got into the financial services industry because of my mom. If you haven't heard the story, let me share it with you. My dad was in the military, and my mom dedicated her life to traveling around the world looking after us kids while my father served. When I was in high school, my dad took a job in Germany after previously promising that we would never move again, and my mom refused to go. It was the final straw that ended their marriage. And during college, my parents divorced, and I watched the financial struggle that my mother went through, and I decided that I never wanted that to be me. After college, I worked in the estate planning department of a law firm, and I was working with millionaire clients, and I got to see the ease and freedom that they had, and I thought to myself, I want that for me. Now, after witnessing the success of the millionaires and seeing the struggle of my mom, I decided, and it inspired me to change career and become a financial advisor. I the helplessness that I felt watching my mom struggle really had me decide that I wanted to focus on helping women. And what I have learned over the 27 years is, unfortunately, I can't help every woman because not every woman is a good fit for me, and I am not a good fit for every woman. And I've come to understand that. I don't like it, but I have come to understand it. Now, if you're considering establishing a relationship with a financial planner, there are 5 questions that I think are the best question to determine if they're a good fit for you. Now, these questions are really specifically about understanding whether or not a financial planner is a good fit for you. And I'll come back and talk about what qualities or things that you want, but these are good questions to ask if you're looking to establish a business relationship with a financial planner versus one that doesn't fit your needs. So the first question is the easiest. You're going to ask them, who do you help? So when you're asking that question, you are really looking to see if you are the ideal person that they want to work with, it's somebody that they're experienced working with, and they are good at working with that population. Now, if you hear in your answer or when you're listening to them, it doesn't sound like they're talking to you, then just move on. There's lots of financial planners out there. Just because they're a nice person, or you're on the church board with them, or you went to college with them, those are not compelling reasons to start a relationship with them or keep working with them if you've already working with them. Otherwise, you may find yourself in a situation like a recent prospect of mine who was working with a man she said treated her like she was a bro. Now, when I asked her why she was considering changing financial planners, her answer was, I like him, but. And the but was he treated her like a bro. She did not like that. But unfortunately, it took her 4 years to decide that she needed to find somebody who was a better fit for her. And I don't advise that. If it sounds like you are in a relationship where you're being treated in a way you don't like being treated, then don't wait 4 years. So when someone specifically asks me, Felicia, who do you work with? I tell them I work with smart, educated, professional, corporate, and business owners who want to be financially independent. And in order to do that, they need to have money. Now, with sufficient money, you can make the decisions and the choices that you want to make now and in the future. Now, the problem that I found is 80% of women don't feel fully prepared to make financial decisions, which makes them oftentimes feel ill-equipped. And I remember when I felt ill-equipped. And I also remember the struggle of watching my mother when she felt ill-equipped to handle her finances after the divorce. It's what inspired me to become a financial planner, and because I believe that women deserve to be confidently independent when dealing with their money with or without a partner. Now, with those few sentences, it's clear the women that I work with and who is not a good fit. And if you're a woman who remembers or is currently feeling ill-equipped, then I might be your girl. The second question that I suggest people ask is, who can you help? And you're asking this question really to get a good sense of whether or not they can help you with your unique needs. Now, when I was considering changing careers years ago, I went to the Yellow Pages. Yes, I know that tells you how old I am, but I went to the Yellow Pages and I interviewed 16 different certified financial planners because that's the gold standard for financial planners. And what I learned during that time is not every CFP practitioner does the same thing. Some only sold insurance or annuities. Others had the designation but only sold stocks. Some people only worked with people who were doctors or dentists. And I met somebody who only worked with the retirees of a particular company. Now, what I liked of the people I talked to was the people who were looking at all the parts of a person's finances and were offering comprehensive financial planning. And so when I became a CFP designate, I decided that I was going to offer comprehensive financial planning. And comprehensive financial planning means that you are looking at all the parts of a woman's finances to ensure all of the parts and pieces are working together for her good. It means that I'm looking at their insurances and I'm looking at their investments and I'm looking at their taxes and cash flow. I'm also looking at their estate planning because I found without a good sense of all the pieces and parts of a person's finances, I could make a mistake or mistakes can be made. In fact, I was once able to save one woman $45,000 because her previous financial advisor had missed something in her finances. By looking at all the parts, I was able to catch that. Now, I can't promise that I'm going to do that for everybody. Of course I can't. But for this particular person, it made a big difference. So when a woman asks me, Felicia, who do you work with? I tell them I work with women who want to have the money that they need so that they can make the choices that they want to make now and in the future. So that's who's a good fit for me, and that's who I'm a good fit for. The third question that I suggest you ask is, why do you help them? Now, this is kind of one of those fluffy questions for my analytical clients, and I realize that. But I have found something that's often repeated is true, which is we buy on emotion, but justify on logic. Now, I find that that's reversed when I'm talking to women or men who are analytical, like my husband. When he's considering making a purchase, he gets his benefits and features that he wants, and he makes sure he puts together a list of this is a must-have, this is a like to have or good to have, and then only then is he ready to make a decision on whether or not to purchase something, whatever it is. And I get that. But as the more empathetic of the two, I often am listening for instead, what's the reason you do what you do? I'm always interested in why people do what they do. I love what I do, and I'd like to work with people who love what they do. So, what I'm looking for there is I'm listening to hear if there's a reason why they do what they do. And I add that to the check boxes that my husband has put together for our joint purchases. And I'm looking for somebody who checks all of my boxes and has a compelling reason why. And that's who I like to work with. And I find that's also very true for a lot of the clients that I work with over the years. For the most of them, selecting the person who costs the least is not the most important factor for them. It's a factor, but not the most important. Oftentimes, when I share my story of my reason why I became a financial planner, that for a lot of the women that I work with is really just the final checkbox that they need to decide that I'm the right person. So, sister, and I find that's also true and important to them because they often have a mom, a sister, or a auntie who we all have aunties, moms, and sisters who inspire us. And we like to work with people who are inspired to do what they do. So if you want to make sure that you don't miss the last two questions in the 5 best questions to ask a financial planner to see if you're a good fit, then I invite you to go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. And you'll be notified when I next come back next week with the final 2 questions, including the last one that I got from Dave Ramsey. It's your host, Felicia Gopaul, the premier women's wealth builder who is dedicated to your financial success. Take good care. See you next week.